key from the McTech facility in Phoenix on Thursday, June 20th. You should have already received a Form 4, a booking photo, as well as a press release relative to that. There's been several media inquiries, so we thought the best way to handle this was to have a press conference today. And with me is Supervisor Bill Gates, as well as media team members from Maricopa County and MCSO. The first thing I'd like to do is highlight the dedication and great work that was done by the county elections employees and the MCSO General Crimes Division staff members in the quick investigation of this, a quick initial noticing that a key fob, or I'm sorry, I keep saying key fob, but it is actually a digital magnetic key, was missing, and identifying a suspect and relaying that information to MCSO for the investigative follow-up. Their swift response and ultimate action helped safeguard democracy and provided our partnered planning and rapid response to the security protocols we have with election proved to be effective. I also want to thank the county attorney, who we're directly working with as we continue investigation and make sure we have the charging review and anything that we find along the way in that investigation. We've partnered with this with election security, but also this is not your average theft, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Please keep in mind this is still an active investigation, so there may be some details I'm not able to speak to. We will give you kind of just the overview. You've got most of that in the Form 4. But the key messages that I want to relay today are the planning and training that has been involved in election security for several months up to this point. We've partnered with county leadership, law enforcement agencies on the local, state, and county level, even some federal partners, that as these cross-jurisdictional boundaries, we make sure that everybody's on the same page. And obviously our prosecuting authorities with the county attorney's office to make sure that we're able to bring these people to justice that commit crimes involving election security, threats, and other nefarious acts. The expedited response, if it wasn't for elections staff members at Maricopa County Election Center, we wouldn't have been able to get on this in time to potentially find the missing evidence and get a suspect in custody. So their vigilance of noting right away that a very sensitive piece of equipment was missing. Secondly, to review video footage and note a suspect and it actually occurring, confronting that individual, and then relaying that information to MCSO for us to respond quickly, recover that evidence, and put somebody into custody for that. From my understanding, the stolen digital magnetic key is something that has the potential to actually log into the tabulation machines at McTech. So you can understand the concern and the implication that might have. The impact of this theft is estimated at over $20,000. That is part of the criminal damage charge that you see with this, because now McTech has to go through and ensure the integrity of that security and reprogram those machines and those keys. And this is all because of one person's criminal action. But this reinforces our commitment to election security. It's the cornerstone of our democratic principles. And beyond the investigations, Maricopa County staff members continue to take proactive stance on election security that includes regular collaboration with local leadership, Maricopa County leadership, even our city and municipality leadership, as well as local, state, and federal authorities. Let me make this clear. MCSO and our partnership will stand vigilant and take the necessary actions to ensure our community, our staff, and our facilities remain safe and secure throughout the election cycle. And with that, I'm sure there are a few questions that you all have, so we will welcome those right now. I'll start with you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for doing this. Lauren Clark here with Fox 10 News. So in that Form 4, there was a statement made by the suspect that he was working part-time, he wanted it to make full-time, he was trying to clean up, which is what he said when he took that digital key. Can you expand on that a little bit? It seemed like he was trying to impress people with cleaning up an area, is what he was claiming. What exactly was going on there?
Well, I can only speak to the statements made. Obviously, that the suspect did make statements that he did take the key fob, and these erroneous statements that we're continuing, again, with processing digital evidence and going through some property from search warrant evidence that was taken. I can't speak to what I couldn't speculate to what he was referring to. We're looking for fact. We're on a fact-finding mission to, correlate any details that might be involved with that. And I don't know, Supervisor, is there anything there?
I just want to kind of cut straight to the chase here. Do you guys have reason to believe that this was politically motivated at all, or do you think that this was just somebody who took this item because it was valuable or because they made a mistake?
Yeah, at this time, again, I can't speculate. We're still combing through a lot of digital evidence that was taken at the scene and going through items that were taken in the search warrant. We don't have any indication at this point, but we're not ruling it out. We're going to leave no stone unturned. We're going to make sure that we do evaluate all the evidence that was out there and ensure that we follow up on anything that may be potentially directing us somewhere else or other actors that may be involved in this. But at this point, we do not have anything that indicates that.
I have a question. Right here.
GOP Chair Svoboda has been critical with the Board of Supervisors, saying there's been a lack of communication between the state party on this case. Is there a reason for that lack of communication, or what she perceives as a lack of communication?
So thanks for the question. We are Maricopa County, so we work very closely with the county Republican Party. And in fact, when this issue came about last Friday, we quickly reached out to the county Republican Party. And one of the things we haven't talked about yet today is all of the protocols that are in place that have ensured that this very unfortunate incident has not affected election security in any way. And one of the things that we did, and in fact I have this, so in case you haven't seen it, this is the black security key. So this is an example of what the keys look like. And so once we had this incident and once we learned that this security key had gone outside of the ballot tabulation center, we reprogram the tabulation machines, and that deactivated this. The additional measure that we took was that we did a brand new logic and accuracy test, and we reached out to all of the county political parties and invited them to be a part of that logic and accuracy test. In addition, yesterday morning we reached out to the county Republican Party, all of the county parties, and gave them a briefing on this criminal situation.
Really quickly, Mr. Ringfield's been quite active on social media over the years. Is that playing a role in the investigation?
Obviously, we look at all evidence in these type of investigations. We will look at social media. We're combing through all of that. Again, we don't have anything that necessarily ties in to anything beyond what we have at this point, but we will look at all those avenues. Absolutely. This day and age, we have to. You're absolutely right.
Do you have any additional information?
Yeah, I would not have information necessarily at fill-in case. I know it wasn't out of the sheriff's office. That would be something that maybe from the county attorney's office that you could ask, but I don't personally have any information relative to that.
Who has access to these key fobs? Is there certain security clearance level? Also, is there any additional security measures if they leave the premises? Does it notify the necessary people?
Yeah, so this black security key right here, this is utilized under normal circumstances. This is just used on election day. This is for the election day tabulators. So the folks who are involved in that, going out to the 223 vote centers that we'll have across Maricopa County on July 30th on primary day, this will be out there. What we do at the beginning of each day, we do an inventory check and make sure that we have all of these black security keys. We did that on Friday morning. We found that one was missing. So immediately, our team at Elections, they spoke to all of the people who were working in the ballot tabulation center on Thursday, the day before, and they also reviewed the security camera footage. So we have security cameras. We also have live stream cameras. They evaluated that, and they determined that the suspect that we've been talking about had taken the black security key and put it in his pocket and then removed it from the ballot tabulation center. I do not expect this to have any impact whatsoever on the upcoming primary. Like I mentioned, we reprogrammed all of the tabulators. Again, these are just the tabulators that are used on election day. And then we did the logic and accuracy test. So it should not have any impact whatsoever on the primary. And hopefully what it should do is instill even more confidence in folks out in the community that one of these keys got out. One of these keys got out at the end of last week, and now we're here. The sheriff has acted, and we cannot thank the sheriff and the sheriff's office enough for their incredible partnership. They jumped right into action on this on Friday. The suspect was arrested the day that we determined it was missing, and the black security key was recovered, again, on the same day. That's incredible work by our law enforcement partners.
And on that point, how many hours was it? Did it go from theft to arrest? Because it was that really quick turnaround.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly on the hours, but again, in the same day, we discovered that it was missing. He was arrested by Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, and then also the black security key was recovered, all on the same day.
So I have two questions here. Okay, so Mr. Ringfield was in a felony diversion program. Had the county known that, would he have been hired?
So again, like the sheriff said, we're not going to get into the specifics of this case at this point, but we do for all of our temporary employees, and he was a temporary employee in elections, we do a criminal background check. And when we did that criminal background check, we did not find this. He was on diversion, and that is something, again, that's a case-by-case basis that we look at this. But it takes 2,000 to 3,000 temporary employees to run an election in Maricopa County. So security is very important, and we look at each one of those cases to ensure the election security.
Okay, my second question, the security key that you're talking about, just one is costing the county $20,000. How much time is it going to take for everything to be reset, reprogrammed? Has this already been paid for? Are we still in the process of this being fixed?
So some of these details I'm going to refer to our experts on the ground. I believe all that has been completed already. As far as the cost is concerned, all of my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors agree with me. You can't put a price on democracy and election security. This team is committed to it. The sheriff is committed. The recorder is committed to it. We're going to do what we need to do to make sure that people know that our elections are safe and secure, and that when people who we have entrusted to work on elections violate that trust, we're going to act upon it. We're going to act strongly. We're going to get to the bottom of it. And we're going to make sure if there's someone else who decides to do something like this, we'll be on the phone with the sheriff again. We're not messing around here. This is too important. And we know that the residents of Maricopa County and the voters of Maricopa County are trusting in us to make sure that this is a safe and secure election.
One more. So obviously, since that incident, you have protocol in place because you caught what had happened. Has this incident shifted the process or what y'all do on an everyday basis to make sure that, this doesn't happen again? Obviously, there was already protocol in place, but have you taken additional steps to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
So this just happened at the end of last week, and at Maricopa County, we're committed to continuous improvement. So we're taking a look at this entire incident, the entire event, to see if anything additionally needs to be added. But my feeling on this is this proves that our protocols work. The system worked. This was identified almost immediately, and it was addressed immediately.
There was mention of another key besides the fob on that. Was there another key along with the fob? And the police report said something about a plastic key.
Yeah, I believe that was also obviously seized during the search warrant. We're still working with what that actually goes to at the elections. But the main thing was the security key for the tabulator, but everything was retrieved relative to what he stole and what was involved in that makeup of the actual lanyard.
So you can't comment on what that other key was for?
I would have to get with probably the elections staff on that because it wasn't a key for the sheriff's office.
Yeah, we may be able to address it. Jennifer might be able to address that, but I'm not able to address it at this moment.
One more for you. There is this increased concern about insider threats. So besides doing these simple background checks before, is there anything you can do to, ensure that there aren't people working for you who are going to try to disrupt elections?
So, like I said, there are lots of people, there are thousands of people, temporary workers who are involved in our elections. We do the criminal background checks. We're committed to that. But additionally, we have, and I think that this incident has shown, all of the protocols that we have in place. We have cameras. We have observers additionally throughout the process. We have observers of the political parties from time to time. We have other people in the room. So there are various protocols that buttress what we're doing already, which is definitely, our due diligence to do the criminal background checks of all of our temporary employees, as well as permanent employees.
So you mentioned that this is, the key fob is used on election day. Wondering why it was kind of in an area where it could be easily grabbed.
Yes, so great question. So last week when this black security key was taken by the temporary employee, we were testing out the tabulation machines to make sure that everything was working in preparation for the July 30th primary.
So if falling into the wrong hands, that security key, what would somebody have the potential to do? We talk about compromising the election, but breaking it down a little bit more so people can understand what would somebody be able to do with that security key?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this black security key is part of a multi-layered process to essentially turn on the tabulators on election day. So with this alone, no one would be, any nefarious actors would not be able to turn on the tabulation machine. I'm not, as you can imagine, I'm not going to get into all the various layers that are involved, but know that this in and of itself would not be able to start a tabulation machine.
He said that he took it by mistake. Are workers at the tabulation center trained and do they understand the importance of the black key, and would they recognize it by looking at it, the importance of its security?
Yeah, and on that one, I believe the answer is yes, but I'll let Jennifer and the rest of the team from elections address that in more detail.
Given the county's history of conspiracy theories surrounding elections, is there any concern that this incident could spark a new wave of those conspiracy theories?
So unfortunately, as you say, at Maricopa County, we have been subject to many conspiracy theories over the past few years, which have been debunked time and time again. I certainly hope that people don't take this incident to spin up new conspiracy theories, but that's exactly why the sheriff and I are here today, to answer these questions, to address this, and frankly, to let people know that our protocols worked. That's the headline of this story.
And with the investigation, is there any indication of any co-conspirators at this point? Are you looking at possible other folks at this point too?
Yeah, and again, we don't have anything leading that way that points that direction, but we are combing through the evidence. Obviously, digital processing, cell phone processing does take time, and we take this seriously. There's zero tolerance with it. We're going to follow it all the way down the trail that we can, and if we do find that, we will obviously follow up on that and hold other people accountable if that's the case.
Are you looking at his communications through his phone, his computer? Is that part of the search warrant and investigation process?
Yeah, I can tell you the search warrant's very detailed in reference to digital evidence working in there for many, many years. We will follow through a lot with especially with computer evidence or cell phone evidence, and look at what is tied to the actual case. Obviously we have to have a scope and authority that we can do tied to this investigation. We don't have anything that goes beyond that, but I can tell you that, yes, we'll look through a lot of that type of evidence.
Besides the involvement of the county attorney and the sheriff's office, the FBI is also involved, correct? Are there other agencies involved in the investigation of this case?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, obviously, things like this, we also, through our planning, through our protocol, we get the ACTIC, the Arizona Counterterrorism Information Center involved. We get our federal partners involved. Election security, obviously, in Maricopa County is at the paramount height of making sure that we're providing the best public service and application to it. We communicate with our other federal partners, our county leadership, and other people that may be involved in that to make sure that there is nothing outside, that we make sure we also go to the boundaries. 2 more questions, and then if there's some other things, we'll refer you to our media team.
Any plan to release some of that video showing?
Yes, we potentially will. I think that's actually queued up. You could probably check with our media team on that. Got a new out of it.
Buried the lead.
Yes. No, and so I'm going to close out just more or less saying thanks again to all the partnership we have with the county and our local partners. It's been great. The employees have been phenomenal in how they're responding to this. Everybody knowing that democracy is going to prevail here. We are committed to it with a zero tolerance stance of any type of criminal activity or nefarious acts being involved. And it just shows the communication line, the partnerships with Supervisor Gates here. As we move forward through this, we're going to ensure to follow up on anything. And if you have further again, our media team's here to be able to answer those questions, but I thank you for your time today, and we'll keep you posted if anything else starts to pop. Thank you.
Thank you.